you, my friend, are fat. I'm sorry, you can change the term from fat to large to big-boned to chubby to portly or stout. I don't care, but bro is obese.
I didn't even know that word. Stout.
Here is my handle, here is my stout. A nursery rhyme appeared in my head. Here is my handle. Coach Greg, in today's video, it's on Kev, or more specifically, Kev Train Hard. He's got over 600,000 followers on Instagram, and he competed in his very first bodybuilding and classic physique competition. Previously, I had done some research on this guy. I was planning to make a video, but I decided I want to wait until he competes so that I can have more to say about it. And so he's a very hardworking guy. He prioritizes bodybuilding. He works long hours, long shifts, but still finds the time to get shit done. And so don't let the looks fool you. I'm not talking about him being a Giga Chad or extremely good looking. I'm talking about all the tattoos all over his body. When a guy has this many tattoos, it intimidates a lot of people. But from all the videos that I've watched, and trust me, I have seen a lot, he seems like a very nice man. He is passionate about the sport of fitness. He started his own clothing line, and so he's doing all the things in order to be successful. And so let's first examine him in the off season.
You know, I've been bulking for a whole year, so I have put on a little bit of fat, but there's some muscle underneath this frame, and when I cut at the end of the year, you know, it's all gonna come off.
As you can see, he looks pretty good. He has great looking shape, wider shoulders, a smaller waist, but he's carrying a significant amount of body fat. And how much? Well, I'm gonna guess he's approaching 25%, which puts him as being obese. But to most bodybuilders, they think that this is in shape. I'm not doing this video to somehow poke fun at him, but I'm saying that he overdid the bulk. You may not believe me, you may think, no, it's all muscle. He realizes he put on a lot of body fat, but he's also hoping that he added some muscle at the same time. When he cut down, he thought, you know, I'm gonna be a light heavy. I'll be 190 pounds at the lowest. And you know, I don't have that much fat to lose. Everyone thinks that. Until you've done a bodybuilding competition, you have no idea how much fat you're going to lose. And so when he first mentioned that he was going to have to get down to 190 pounds, I said, this needs to be a middleweight, or I'm not Coach Greg Doucette.
Greg goddamn Doucette.
What category do you think he ended up in? Do you think he was a light heavyweight, 190 pounds, or do you think he cut down to 176 pounds? Of course, 176, because he had 14 more pounds of fat to lose than he actually thought. And so no matter how much fat you think you have to lose in bodybuilding, you probably have to double that. Most people are clueless to the amount of fat that they're actually carrying. And so if you get an in-body scam, or you say to some guy, hey, what body fat do you think you are? They're probably going to give you a number 5 or maybe even 10% lower. VSRL sits there, shaves the hair, 5 million views, great ad for his clothing. And if you see him in that video, you know, standing with his hair being shaved off, he's significantly leaner than he was in his off season. That is what I would recommend for his next off season. There is no reason to bulk up to, for example, 225 pounds plus if you're dieting down to 176. The extra weight just makes it harder to diet, harder to get in shape, and it's for naught. It's a waste of time.
My coach, Tori, said we needed more time. I got pretty big on my off season in terms of how much fat I put on. So we had to push it back to June 6th. So that's 7 weeks out from now.
And you can see at 7 weeks out, look at the shape that he's in. He has amazing structure. The quads are well formed, a small waist, the lats coming out, big full looking biceps. Now, obviously it's harder to see his true muscle because of the tattoos covering. If you are trying to be a bodybuilder, I would suggest you don't get all these tattoos. It is a bit distracting. Hey, I am a judge. I know what I'm talking about. His conditioning at 7 weeks out, it's decent. In fact, it's more than decent, but he says it himself. He had to diet very, very hard. He's doing a lot of cardio, trying to get the conditioning. And so if you're not as fat in the off season, it's so much easier to get lean.
So if I gotta push the show back another 3 weeks, diet a little bit more, suffer a little bit more to come in a little bit better, then that's what I'll have to do. But hopefully I can make this show June 6th.
And so did he in fact make the show? Yes, he did.
When you push the threshold, when you reach the limit, when you put yourself in an uncomfortable position, that's where growth occurs. That's where the transformation happens.
I mean, he's got great advice. You can see what he's saying. And just think of it. He just finished going in the oil field. He's working all day. He's getting home. He's going to go do some cardio. He's training. He's doing all the things. And so, like, what is your excuse? Like, why can't you do it? Lock in and get it done.
I'm about to compete here in 5 weeks. And I made it up in my mind that I'm going to continue to do this. Why didn't I do this when I was in my early 20s?
And so first things first, you got to spin a little bit faster. The cardio, it's just not fully hitting. You got to spin the legs a little bit. He's going very easy here, but at least he's doing something. And next, he says, why did I wait till I'm 30? Now remember, he isn't natural. He's using and abusing performance-enhancing drugs. And so I'm glad that he waited to be 30. Many people, they're thinking they have to start at 18. You have to blast steroids as a teenager because, well, I'm trying to follow in the footsteps of Chris Bumstead or Sam Sulik. You don't need to do that. And so, frankly, wait until you're older. Just train, go to the gym, eat healthy, learn how to diet. You don't need to get up on stage until you're actually ready.
And I have some size on me, but I'm not a mass monster by any means. You know, you think you're big as fuck until you cut all the fat off. And then you realize you're really not that big.
And so here we have him 3 weeks out. You can see he's continued to get leaner. And he's saying, well, I'm not big enough. I'm not a mass monster. You don't need to be. When you have this kind of structure, when you have great shape, you can compete as a middleweight and do amazing.
9 days until competition, 3 more days left in the oil field. I'm eating fish every day, tilapia. That green bucket used to be full. 4 in the morning, get ready for work.
And so Diet Coke, tilapia, some fish, greens, cardio 4:30 in the morning, on a boat at 5 a.m. off to do a full day's of work while prepping for a competition 9 days out. He's suffering. It's hard, but it's supposed to be hard. This is the point.
Ended up being a 14-hour day. That's the most I ran around all week. My coach, he's helping me prep. He told me to take it real easy at work. He said, tell the boss man you're 10 days out. It's important. That shit made me laugh.
14-hour day and bro is doing 30 minutes of cardio before getting to work. You don't need to do cardio. When you're on your feet working for 14 hours, probably getting in 20 to 30,000 steps, you don't need more cardio.
They sent pizza from land. That way the guys could eat. Man, I wish I could have a slice of pizza. I make the drive home. It's already almost 8 p.m. I needed to do Stairmaster for another hour.
No, you didn't. A 14-hour day. He's doing cardio in the morning, working 14 hours, and then doing Stairmaster for an hour at night. Now, maybe he did. He wants to be shredded, and it isn't enough. The coach is pushing him to the end. He wants to win. But you know what would have been easier? Not getting fat in the off season. Yeah, you can hate me. Write the comment. Oh, you just called him fat. Well, if he wasn't, why does he have to do cardio after spending 14 hours on his feet? Why can't he have a slice of pizza? The fatter you get in the off season, the more you're going to have to diet to get that weight off. And so if you're a bodybuilder and you're at 20% body fat and or more, you, my friend, are fat. I'm sorry, you can change the term from fat to large to big boned to chubby to portly or stout. I don't care, but bro is obese.
I didn't even know that word. Stout.
Here is my handle. Here is my stout. It's not actually obese. It's just a word, but I just in my head, a nursery rhyme appeared in my head. Here is my handle. I'm a little teapot, short and stout. Okay. Here is my handle. Here is my spout. When you something, pour me out. Tip me over and pour me out.
I skipped the Stairmaster, man. I just went home and I did the bike instead for 30 minutes. And I took my ass to sleep because I almost fucking fell asleep on the motherfucking bike, man.
Bro, you gotta get Blue Lobstered. He's fallen asleep. I mean, I used to have narcolepsy. I still have it technically, but I used to fall asleep at work. I would go lobster fishing all day. We're up at 3:30 in the morning. I'm on the boat and catching lobsters and I'm popping ephedrins like candy. I had to drive home 25 minutes after working 12 hours on a boat. and I didn't want to die falling asleep, and so I'd pop several ephedrins just to make it home. And then I had to eat supper and go to bed and do it all over again. And so when I see him doing this, it reminds me of myself working 21 days in a row on the boat, 12-hour days, and the day after, I'm competing in a powerlifting competition, setting records, while dehydrated, starving. And so I've done the things, and so I can respect the hustle.
I wake up the next morning, I gotta go back to the oil field. And this is not the healthiest shit, but I wake up and I slam a Celsius. Feel like I'm on survival mode.
Yeah, instead of the Celsius, which is something that Mepsigram would consume, you got to get Blue Lobster. And if you don't want to get Blue Lobster, of course, you can get my alter ego. Not to mention, if you want more energy, you should get on the Turk Builder Max, GO2 Max for enhanced cardio. And to get better sleep than last time, Delta Sleep.
Almost there, man. Making this voiceover on my lunch break right now. Almost there. Y'all take care. Y'all have a great day. And train hard.
I'm scared.
He looks scary, definitely.
If I met him in a dark alley,
Why would you meet him in a dark alley? I would be scared of anyone in a dark alley. Why are we in dark alleys? Who's in a dark? You might have a gun. All right, and so we can see 3 more days need to carb up. His conditioning is pretty good. It could be leaner. It's his first competition. For a first competition, this is leaner than you need to be. Now, if he's going for a pro card, he probably has 2 or 3 weeks more dieting that he would need to do. But for first show, hey, this is amazing.
Results are officially in for Kev Train's Hard first ever bodybuilding show. Kev ended up doing 2 divisions of bodybuilding and classic physique, and he fought for the overall for both divisions.
And so he wins classic, wins middleweight, but doesn't take the overall. And so how does that sound for your very first competition? I think that is above your expectations. If you think you're showing up to your first show and winning the overall, well, bodybuilding isn't that easy. And so if you're winning your first show and expecting to take the overall, it took me 12 years and I eventually won my pro card. And so you don't have to do it in a couple of years, a couple of shows. You have more time than you'll ever need. And so the fact that he was able to win his weight class and not just classic, but also in bodybuilding shows his true potential. His conditioning was decent. It could have been better if he was fighting for the overall, but it was actually very good. And so what you can see is he has the flaring quads, great separation, a small waist. The lats, they taper out. You can see that great looking V. And the biceps are good. He could hold his biceps higher. Everyone seems to do this. I've said this in how many videos. Pose a little bit higher. He stated he needs to work on his posing, but he has so much room to grow. He can add in perhaps 10, 20 pounds of more muscle and compete in a year or two.
And for classic physique, he has 10 pounds to grow into his weight cap. Kev is usually over 5'8", but he ended up measuring under 5'8" because he lost so much fat under his feet.
Yeah, usually over 5'8". How many men who are actually under 5'8" exaggerate and say they're over 5'8"? I say I'm 5'6". I am 5'6". We know I'm 6'5" when sitting on my wallet, but I'm not exaggerating. I'm not rounding up or down. I'm exactly stating what I am. And so when a man says, you know, I'm a bit over, I'm like 5'9", they're usually 5'7". And so the fact that he didn't height in over 5'8", it's not a surprise. Blaming the fact that you're shorter, that your fat on your feet was lost somehow, I don't really buy it. I believe he's almost 5'8", and so he has 10 more pounds of muscle that he can add to be in classic physique. And so imagine this. He drops 5 pounds more water and or fat. He can then add 15 pounds of muscle. Imagine him with 15 pounds more muscle and is 5 pounds leaner. Most likely, I believe he would get a pro card. And then as he turns pro, they add 10 more pounds. And so picture this physique with 25 pounds more muscle. This would be insane, ridiculous. I certainly don't think he ever could do that. I can't imagine the amount of drugs he would have to abuse for how many years. Would he actually make it that far? And so it's not just about being an IFBB pro and winning the Olympia. You can just be the best version of yourself. This was the best he's ever done. It's his very first competition. He says he's going to do more. I'm certain that in his next competition, he's going to look better. He doesn't need to abuse more steroids. He doesn't need to take higher doses. He just needs to keep doing what he's doing and continue to get better. I would suggest he goes up to perhaps 12% body fat in the off season and main gains rather than going to 20% plus and then having to diet for extra months. That's right, months, not weeks, extra months. It'll make it significantly easier for him to get in shape, especially with his oil career where he's on his feet working hard all day long. He won't have to actually do much cardio. He can rely on the work to burn the calories and the diet. And so it will be easier than last time. And of course, I would suggest he uses HTLT supplements, whether it's the Turk Builder Max, GO2 Max, no matter what the supplement, it is highly beneficial for not only him, but for anyone. Code Greg for 15% off. Don't forget, bodybuilding, it isn't healthy if you're abusing steroids. Please go and check out your blood work at AlgoRx. If you're coming off cycle, perhaps you will need to use enclomiphene. You can get it there. Do you need a GLP to make the dieting even easier than last time? For example, people are using Ozempic or Tirzepatide. And so if you're interested in getting things that you need, for example, peptides and so on, remember, everything is FDA approved at AlgoRx. It's from compounding pharmacies and the prices are cheaper than last time. Compared to Merrick Health, you'll see about half the price. And so everybody wins. Code Greg for your discount. Subscribe, click the bell button, comment to boost the algo for AlgoRx. Don't forget to watch one of those two bloops. If you want to be sponsored to carry my supplements or to be coached by myself or myself and my team, click the link. And until next time,